You have to do any work outside, or is it all indoors?
It's just,
Get cold. Jesus, it's cold. That's some Carol did there. By some folks were at traffic calling up lights. It was like 50 degrees outside. I said, why is it when we used to have heat, you wait for the coldest day of the year? I said, well, I learned. I'm older now. 20 below with a 20-mile-an-hour wind. I'm a little older. There's a guy that died down in Florida, and when the police went to do the investigation, the guy had a handgun in his apartment, so he contacted the guy up here, and he said, yeah, I want it back with my grandfather's. So they ended up shipped it to the police department to give it back to him. So I opened up the box, it was nice, cold 45. I called him. I got you. Everyone, we all switched to, PD switched to 9mm. So we got a case and a half still with 40. I'm the only one with 40 still. Yeah, we have a press still. Hold the ball. I saw your press. That's a gold outside.
Well,
I hate that. Bless is foggy. Still, bless is always foggy.
oh, I know. We left the same way.
So did Trump pull off today? Did he allow, did he stop the court proceedings, or?
He didn't stop the court proceedings, but he opened up the funds for the transition team.
Uh-huh.
Any part in the turkey corn? Any part in the turkey corn?
He
You
did.
know, they do the annual part in the
Yeah.
turkeys. There's cob and corn, so he part in corn. But both cob and corn are going to a farm in upstate New York to live off their.
Interesting.
Go out in style.
They do that every year, I guess they have for, I don't know how many years. 73 years, they said, they've been parting turkeys.
Yeah, I don't know how long, but
That's what they
it's been a
said,
common
started
practice
with
for some
the
time. anyway.
president. Oh, kind of a nice turkey, too. This turkey sandwich.
My son raised 2 turkeys.
Sorry, but my turkey ain't getting a party.
No, I just. It's ready.
Just put it in the oven.
We're gonna have to
Well,
rip
this one
apart
was
that whole
long.
dead hand.
All right, if I could call this meeting to order. It is 5:30. All board members are present, so we do have a quorum. I'd like to start with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. I have a paragraph here that I want to read concerning public participation. Maybe I should pull this off. So this portion of the meeting is to allow the public to inform the board regarding their concerns. The public will be given 10 minutes to bring concerns that they have to the board. Additional time may be allowed if it's obvious 10 minutes is not enough time to address the concerns. Each participant will address the board and no discussion will ensue between board members and participants. Please be advised the individuals addressing concerns will be placed on the board's next regular meeting agenda unless the issue addressed is one of an emergency nature. The chairperson or acting chairperson will use his or her discretion as to whether action on any particular issue should be taken at this meeting. Items regarding personnel issues or town employees cannot be discussed in open session. Article 1, to consider the board meeting minutes of October 27 and November 12. Do I have a motion?
I'll motion.
Do I have a second? Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Sorry, I kind of missed the idea that my friend Mr. Talbot here was not here. Is there anybody that did have something to say about public participation?
Well, I actually have 4 questions if the chair will allow.
We were going to bring, I think, your issue up under other business, which will come in as soon as the warrants are
The 4 issues I have are not related.
to other business.
I hate to help.
Well, it's because he's
No.
saying on Article 9, other business board member update. Like, we added a little thing there, so it's like public participation will be for them, and then unless you need to address it for him
No.
to run the meeting.
No, seeing that we have no executive sessions on the agenda for tonight, because I do have some information as well as questions pertaining to executive sessions that I'd like to relay to the rest of the board.
Right.
So will we be taking this up during other business?
Under other business, and I will bring that up under Article, right after Article 2.
Okay, thank you.
There is public that may want to participate.
Okay, so yeah, I was back to the question of public participation. So did we have anybody with public participation? Paul, did you have something to say?
Oh, I just have one, just for today.
All right, before you do that, is there anybody else that will have public participation other than Paul? Okay, very good, Paul, go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna take my mask down so you can hear.
Yep, I hear you.
Okay, I know we hadn't had a bowling alley for quite a while, and I know we cannot cross right now. And I'm just wondering if it's possible if we can try to see if we can build one up, so that way there we can bowl over here, maybe in the near future. So I just thought I'd just bring it up tonight.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Nobody else? All right, that'll be the end of our public participation. Okay, back to Article 1, to consider the board meeting minutes of October 27 and November 12. Did we?
We did that.
We did that already. Okay, so Article 2, to consider the treasurer's warrants. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second that.
Do we have any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Can I see that again? All in favor? All in favor?
Sorry.
Okay, opposed,
Sorry
so
about that.
all in favor.
No, I'm not
Okay.
opposed. I'm sorry.
Okay, so we're going to bring Article 9 in at this point. Other business, board member updates. So Dan, if you have something at this point?
Okay, I have a question pertains to the Town of Madawaska Board of Select People's bylaws. On the very last, excuse me, on the very last page, it says the stipend will be made to the chairperson of Select People in 2 installments. First installment will be 50% of the full stipend amount paid in the month of December. The second installment will be the remaining 50% of the stipend amount paid in the month of June. Stipends will be prorated based upon attendance of the scheduled meetings. It says, note, Select People must notify the town manager if they will be absent from a meeting. An absence may be excused by the chairman when it is due to unforeseen medical or family emergencies. When a member is absent for more than 1 consecutive meeting, the majority of the board shall determine if it shall be classified an excused absence. If you review the minutes of our last budget meeting when we were scheduling, or the town manager as well as the board was looking to set the date for the annual town meeting, there were many things that came into play, but for the record, I did specify that I would be away during the moose hunting weeks, if you will. I was committed to the 3 moose hunts. Therefore, I was not present at the annual town meeting, and I just would like to know if this is going to be deemed an excused absence.
So this is a question that you're putting to the board? I don't understand. I mean, I understand what you're requesting, but is this for a further is this for another meeting, or is this for something for us to answer?
That's in the
Or
form of
Gary,
a question.
do we have an answer for him on that issue? I mean, I don't know that we even brought that up or even questioned that.
Well, it's in the manual, so we need to deal with it.
I don't, yep, go ahead.
In the very first, I think, meeting, when you asked us what we wanted to, do this year or whatever, the bylaws was one of the things I wanted us to review, because there are a lot of things in there, and we change, right? You change boards and you change, and everybody has, and there are several things in there that we don't really follow, so I think that, you have to answer Dan's question, obviously, but you and I had a discussion, and I had asked you to put the bylaws themselves on as an article.
Which I've noted, and that will happen. I've got 2 or 3 other things you brought up to me that I have on there too.
Okay, because we don't, you haven't,
So
Nobody takes attendance.
so in answer to or at least to give the public an idea of how we go through our meetings, certainly we've been following the direction of past boards, and so I can see, just looking by some of the bylaws, that we've kind of moved away from some of the issues that are in the bylaws. Not to say that we can't bring them back in, but you can see that there are some issues there that we seem to not circumvent, but just don't follow. In an answer to your question, I don't believe at this point that we were going to consider any different payment or stipend because you missed the town meeting. No discussion was ever had, no thoughts were ever shared. So at this point, I would say that there's no penalty, and we are not going to decide that we're going to pay you any more or any less. Now, am I wrong in saying that? I certainly had no discussions with anybody on the board here, so.
And here's the attendance.
So the town meeting, basically, from what I'm being advised, is not necessarily considered one of our meetings, one of our board meetings.
Okay. So is it safe to assume that this will be deemed an excused absence?
It's not considered.
Just say yes, Doug. He just wants a yes or a no. Just say yes.
I don't understand. I mean, it's not considered as one of our meetings.
Right, no, so it's an excused absence. That's what he needs to hear.
An excused absence. I don't understand then why you would want an excused absence. There was nothing recorded that would say anything differently. You were just not there, that's all. Excused absence.
Well,
Yes, I can say yes. You
Okay.
know, I mean, I don't know of any other issue here that would even, that you would bring that up.
okay, well, no, I just want to make sure, that in every area, in all areas, that we are going by the Board of Selectmen handbook, as well as the Maine Municipal Association manual. I just, before anybody, the Board of Selectmen here, we're all volunteers. Oh, great, we get a little stipend. But we're all volunteers. We do the best we can with what we know, and we are bound to err. But it's by going back to these manuals, to review these policies, the more you dig, it's like panning for gold. The more you research it, the more knowledgeable you become, and the less apt we are to make mistakes. Does that make sense?
Yes, I hear you. I
Okay.
understand.
All right, so we got that one. At the last meeting, I brought it to the attention of the board, as well as the town manager, that we have been going into executive session illegally for a considerable amount of time. Nobody's going to jail, but I think it's time that we correct this. According to the Board of Selectmen bylaws, under meetings, executive sessions. Board members are allowed to go into executive session to deliberate on matters authorized by 1 MRSA 401. And that was not the first time I brought this up. I have brought this up not to this board, not to this manager, but to previous boards. It was like water off of a duck's back.
Well, can I stop you for just a second? So if you want to bring this up to the board, then why don't we request to have it put on the agenda so we can discuss it in our next meeting?
Well, I just want to clarify. Let me read from the MMA manual here.
Really, Dan, I mean, why can we not discuss that in a regular article?
Well,
It's
you want-
the way it should be done, so
Okay,
let's bring
okay.
it up in a regular article. I mean,
Okay, can we put it on the, would you like it on the agenda for the next meeting?
We are putting it down as you speak.
Okay. Very good, thank you. Could we also include in that same, or a separate if you prefer, about minutes being taken in executive session? We have been told all these years that it is illegal to take minutes in an executive session. Maine Municipal Association here says minutes taken and any form of written or electronic record or note from an executive session are not automatically confidential by law and are subject to public inspection. Now that bothers me when I read that, because, and I'm not pointing at any fingers at anybody here, but we have been given wrong information down through the ranks, down through the years, and we need to correct this. So could we please put that on the agenda for the next meeting?
Yep.
Enough for tonight. Next.
Very good, okay. Nope, I just figured you had more to say.
Oh, I do, but
All right, so Article 9, we'll come back to Article 9 because there are other items under that article, so I'm going to keep that as an article to discuss here once we get down the bottom of the agenda. Article 3, to consider a letter of resignation from a board selectman. Do we have a motion? We can have a
does
discussion.
discussion only
The
come
discussion will
after
come
the
after the
motion?
motion, yeah. So I need a motion.
Well, listen, I believe he wants to rescind that
I understand.
resignation.
I understand.
Do we
But
need
I-
a motion not to accept?
No, you have to do it in the positive.
What?
I think we have to do the motion in the positive, then we turn down the motion, that we don't accept it.
Sorry, neither one of us hears you.
Meaning, I don't think we can do a motion in a negative sense. You have to say that you're not going to accept his letter of resignation? I'm not sure.
So the article,
So we can still have, we can still have a motion in a second with the conversation to follow, and in that conversation, we could close it out from there. We will not, I mean, if we don't accept it, which you're telling me you cannot accept, I'm not sure if I understand how this rule would follow. Gary, is there a way you can explain this to us?
What Manoj tried to explain is that you typically ask for the motion and the second, and you have a discussion, you open up to the discussion, and then you do the vote. So just because somebody would motion for it, doesn't mean they're gonna, the motion is the show of hands to pass it. It's just to open it up for discussion, right? So.
That's what I mean.
but if he's gonna rescind his resignation, that should be done in an other business article rather than,
See, that's the way that I understood it to be, and I understood that this is what he was going to bring up here under board member updates. I thought that we were going to hear it at that point, but he never mentioned anything at this point, so now I'm into the letter. And so I don't really know just which way to proceed at this point. I mean, if we do go for a motion in a second, and then we have a discussion,
Well,
and then the vote is down, the vote goes down and it doesn't carry.
Well, I would just say that if under other business and board member updates, that rescission would come there, then it would basically nullify Article 3. You wouldn't have to act on it at all.
Right on, so then let's bring it back up.
I don't mean to put you on the spot, but at what point do I get to bring out some information?
Well,
It's up to you.
I don't know that I can answer that question. I can only answer to the point of you advising this board whether you're going to rescind the letter of resignation. So I'm going to bring it back up at this point and ask that you discuss that issue.
Open for discussion?
Open for discussion.
Once again, it has nothing to do with what I think, has to do with what the policy manuals say. On page 13 of the Maine Municipal Association manual, under resignations, there's a good deal of misunderstanding about when a resignation is effective. A resignation of a municipal officer is not effective until it has been accepted by the remaining municipal officers at a regular or special board meeting, or they have taken action which indicates that the resignation is accepted in the absence of a character or ordinance provision to the contrary. For example, if a municipal officer leaves a letter of resignation with the clerk, the letter will not be effective until at least a majority of the remaining municipal officers vote to accept it or take some other action. With that being said, at the last meeting, I was emotionally reacting to my perspective of the situation at hand. I therefore apologize for my rash and unsincere spontaneous reaction, and I do hereby rescind my resignation as town selectman, effective immediately on this Tuesday, November 24, 2020. I look forward to moving forward in accordance to all the rules, regulations, laws, policies, and ordinances that guide our local government. Thank you.
So at this point, I accept Dan resending his letter of resignation, which allows him to hold on to his seat as it is. So at this point, there is no reason to take up Article 3. Article 4. Since Mr. Talbot is not here, we do have a packet of information ready for him, but Article 4 reads, to consider concerns by Mr. Wallace Talbot regarding insurance, town lawyers, ATV access, and the police department's response to speeding complaints.
Can I make a motion to table that? Is that?
In light of the fact that Mr. Wallace is not
Yeah, we
here,
don't know if he's sick or, he asked to be on this agenda, so I would imagine either he's, something could happen.
yes, we can table that.
I don't want to have that discussion without him.
Yeah.
So, okay, I make a
Okay, so
motion to
let-
table
all right.
Article 4.
So I'm assuming a second. All in favor? So Article 4 has been tabled for the next meeting. Article 5, to consider the sale of a tax-acquired property.
So you have in your packet, piece of property, over on Fournier Road, no physical address, but it's on map 29, lot 3. On that property is roughly 1.3 acres, 38 acres of land value 9,600, building value of 10,004 is an old dilapidated structure there. This property was in bankruptcy the owner of this property was in bankruptcy for quite some time, so that kind of ties us up for a while. The property has been released from bankruptcy, the case is closed. I did send out a letter via certified mail to the owner, offering a chance for the owner to redeem the property, according to our town meeting article for the board's authorization to dispose of tax-acquired property. We first have to offer it back for payment of taxes, full payment of taxes. That we did send a letter, certified mail. It was not picked up, so there was no response on that. So at this time, we're free to go out to bid on that. Roughly $3,400 of taxes that are due on that dating back to 2014. So my recommendation would be that the town would be at least made whole for its taxes that are owed. We need to get a base bid, minimum bid, if you will, so that we can post an ad in the paper, solicit bids for this tax-acquired property. So my recommendation to you would be at least, the base bid would be at least $3,400. You could make that,
In the form of a motion?
you could make that whatever it is you want it to be.
So can I have a motion to go out to bid?
That's not a motion, that's a recommendation, somebody else has to make a motion.
So I'll make a motion to consider the sale of the tax-acquired property as so stated here with a minimum bid of $3,400.
Second that.
Second. All in favor?
Any discussion?
Sorry. Yes, any discussion?
I just want to know, I don't want to argue this, I just want to know, do you ever, ask for more?
Yeah?
The minimum bid could be set higher if we wanted it to be?
You could.
Okay, I'm good with this, sir, I just wanted to know.
I wish I could comment a little bit more about this property, but I've been on Fournier Road 100 times. I don't know that I've ever
I've never seen it.
seen this property.
That's Herbie Jarvezzo, Kent, right before Dennis, for Doobie's.
Yes,
Going up.
yes. All right. Any other discussion?
I will say that when you make your motion, the way that the attorneys, well, excuse me, I'm getting ahead of myself, but I'm thinking about the next article that we'll talk about. But yeah, the $3,400 will clear the town of its taxes that are owed.
So we have a first, we have a second, we've had discussions. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes at 3,400. Article 5, Article 6, to consider a survey proposal by Northern Maine surveyors.
So you have, this is something that the board had asked me to do, is they look into getting a proposal for surveying the undeveloped town Riverview Street, the end of Riverview, and then that road that goes down next to the Dion's between the Robert Dion and Central Building, in order to help us along with the designation of the recreational trail access, and also to clarify exactly where the road was that goes up the hill between Robert Dion and Central Building. So we have a proposal from Northern Maine Surveyors for $7,685 to do that, and I had asked him to, this is work that if the board so choose, we'd want to probably move so on pretty quickly. We don't have a budget for surveying per se. Did talk to Kevin Newton. The only place that we could pull funds from to pay for this would be road project reserve, if you will. So otherwise than that, it's I'm not sure where we're going to pay for this.
Well, can I have a motion to accept that proposal, that bid? Nobody wants to make a motion?
Can you clarify again, like, how this came about, like, to be surveying it?
So going back prior to our last designation of Riverview Street as being a designated ATV access,
Right,
was last year when we were having this discussion with it going down towards the dock fueling station, the bulk station between Central Supply Lot and Robert Dion. And there was question about where the road was there. Okay, so
okay, I'm sorry, I
This-
tuned out in
this-
the beginning, I remember now.
this is work that we had requested a while back.
Mhm.
And we never followed up on it, but we had requested it. When we got the Riverview Trail Access designation by this board, we needed to know exactly where the road was, the undeveloped town way, going all the way to the field behind the courthouse, the Parity property, if you will. So we asked for a proposal so we could see where things are. So the intent was to get a proposal and bring it back here for your consideration.
Okay, to open it for discussion, because everyone's quiet, I'm gonna make the motion to accept this proposal for $76.85.
Do I have a second?
Second it.
All right, just for discussion here, I mean,
Yeah.
is there somebody infringing on us here or on this piece of land? I mean, you want to have this surveyed because we have landowners that are in the area that are not sure where the town line is or the property lines are?
Well, I was asked to have a survey proposal done on these properties last year when we first started talking about snowmobile access, before we were thinking about putting on Riverview. We don't necessarily know exactly. We can eyeball. What we think we know is the trail access, the town's undeveloped way, if you will, off of the end of Riverview all the way to the Parity property. And so on each side of that, you've got Clifford Dion that has property on the uphill side. And below that, you have Central Buildings got their lot. and that goes all the way through. There's a wooded area as well. There's a culvert, there's a ditch, controls some stormwater. There would have to be some improvements made to open it up so that trails can go through there.
Was Riverview considered to be all the way to the Parodies land at this point? Was that considered to be an actual road there? All the way to the Parodies?
I don't know the history of it that well. One would assume that it was at one point in time intended to be developed. It lines up perfectly with the streets and the public ways, but it never was. It never was developed as such.
So there, seconded. So at this point, I mean, there must be some landowners that are considering that right of way to be theirs?
I don't necessarily know if there's right-of-way issues there. All we're looking for is to ascertain where the property line is, so we know where we can designate the access.
So we don't know if there was a road there or not. Okay.
I just gonna answer that. I know that road I live on Riverview, and it goes right down to the end of the road, where it ends right there. So I'm just gonna bring it up now.
Doug, it's the same scenario with the end of Reed Avenue between 26th and 25th. There's a strip there 50 feet wide that goes all the way back to some larger tracts of land. It's woods. It was never developed, but the town has 50 feet of undeveloped land, which at some point in time, conceivably, somebody had a vision, or there was a vision for that to be subdivided and built upon. So it's probably the same thing, seeing is that there is actually measurements that the roads those ways are 50 feet in width, or those undeveloped roads are. That would indicate that, in my mind, that the intent at some point in time is that those abutting properties would be developed. And I think, who was I talking to way back? I think there was even some discussion that Riverview might have gone all the way to Gano Road.
Yeah.
You know, back in the day, there was some discussion about that as an alternative to Main Street.
Go ahead, Dan.
I've spoken with most of the landowners right there in that vicinity. I've also spoken with the land surveyor himself. Like always, there's conflicting views, conflicting opinions, and I think it's time that we do get a land surveyor in there. My only concern is that we get this rectified like PDQ. Winter is upon us, no time to be looking for pins under the snow. We were at this back in February, and we need to get this behind us.
Any other discussion?
I'm just concerned about that amount of money taking it out of the road reserve fund, and what do we gain from finding out? I understand it's important, we've been wanting that for a long time, but that's a significant amount of money to take out of tarring our roads and fixing them up.
Well, it could actually, if it's not rectified at this point, I mean, it could actually stop any and all traffic at this point, because I believe that their landowners believe that they own that land at this point, and until it's clarified, people are just going to close it. I understand the cost.
But by and large, when it comes to properties, the landowner has to bear some of that responsibility. Unless we're going after a town road, that's a different story. But if we're going out into the field towards Parodies, we're going completely out of, unless there is documentation that Riverview actually extends. If ever there was a plan for a road development, of a continuation of Riverview, that's a different story, but if there is not,
That road.
we're moving out onto private
Private.
property where we could be asking for a cost sharing.
But
Is that not the question though, whether it's private or whether it's actually the street? I mean,
No, there's deed for the land. There's no doubt that the town owns a strip 50 feet wide. It extends off the end of Riverview and it abuts the Perry property. The tax maps are drawn up. There's deeds that reference it. You know, the mere fact that you have a proposal and Mike has, Northern Maine Surveyors has outlined the scope of work area. It says that, that's what it is. What we're asking you to do is find us the pins. So it's not like we're trying to find something that, or create something that doesn't exist, it's there. It's just that we don't know exactly where. And before we make any improvements, or alter some land, we just know that where it is that belongs to the town.
certainly in looking at the map, you can tell that this road could deceive people because of the angle of the road. The way the road is cutting through the properties, you could see that it could actually make its way through, as I see it, two landowners. I mean, there's a division of land there, as I see it, you know. So it actually could affect two landowners there. Well, anyway. Is there any more discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. What was that, Article 6? Article 7. To consider a liquor license renewal for the American Legion.
This is a renewal application. In a renewal application, the applicant can ask the board to waive the public hearing requirement. Typically, we do that, and that's okay. There's not been any law enforcement issues or any things where, you know, there was issues there with laws being broken. So it's pretty straightforward. All of our businesses that have any licenses ask us to waive the public hearing. If it were a new application, we would have to have the public hearing. But in this case, it's not, so I would recommend we go ahead and approve this liquor license so that they can send it out to the state.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to accept the liquor license renewal application.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Article 8, Managers Report.
And I can go over that a little bit with you. The manager's report was an update on the International Bridge Project, and DOT they did hold a contractor site visit last Wednesday on the 12th. Representatives from 3 general contracting firms, Chimbro, Reed and Caldwell and Ross were on site for the tour. MDOT anticipates their schedule for bid solicitation late November to mid-December. That's what they're going to be having out bids. 2020 real estate and personal property taxes were committed on the 16th. People have started receiving their bills already. Blue Sky building demo project, asbestos work is complete. Porches on the sides of the buildings have been removed. Contractors coordinated well with our police department for the safety and a road closure plan, which has to be submitted to MDOT. The contractor has requested that the town remove a light post, one of our deco posts near the building to provide better access and protect the fixture. That was done today. The electrician actually went last week and unwired it in the base, and Public Works went with Gerald today and they took the post down. And the plan is that the work is going to begin next Monday on that. And so that's the road closure plan is for a week. They anticipate being able to get it done in a week. Because of the limited access from behind, there's no way to get a truck out off of that little access road behind and turn down Ridge Street. There's no way that a truck can make a swing there. Building's gonna be torn down. There, it's gonna be loaded from Main Street. So that's why it's gonna take up some space on Main Street. It's gonna be full closure from 10th Ave to next to Big Rick's, what street is that?
12th.
12th. And pedestrians will be routed across the street. Because it's in the intersection of 11th Avenue, because we had to move pedestrians across the street, you know, we're talking with the police department, we felt that it was going to be such a busy intersection there, with everything going on right there with the equipment, that it was prudent to close Main Street and not put pedestrians into that crowded intersection of 11th Ave. Public Works garage, heating system in the bus bay.
Gary, before you go on,
Yep,
did they estimate how long it was gonna take them?
the week.
The week, so basically within a week's time, so the businesses in that area should know that we're gonna be circumventing the traffic for about a week. Okay.
If you have any, Ross is here too, if you want to poke him for some questions regarding traffic safety and stuff like that.
No, it's just the concern for the businesses that are gonna get affected.
We did, you know, we did make sure that we're providing access to the parking lot at the Pocket Park and then for the senior center, so people can come down.
Yeah.
It won't be through traffic, obviously, but they'll be able to access that. The senior center
Yeah.
is the hub for Meals on Wheels for the St. John Valley, so it's important that we keep that access open every day.
Yep.
Replacement of the heating system, of the modines at the Public Works garage, the bus bay, is gonna happen next week. We discussed this with the school, keeping them updated. You know, the school, in talking with Kevin, and that there was discussion that they might have funds to help us with winterization of the bus bay. They asked Kevin to get some pricing for spraying, spray insulation. Turned out to be pretty expensive. Would require dismantling of wall shells and other obstructions to get to the wall. The discussion was, we did talk about the overhead doors. The doors, there's one left to replace. And there, you know, the thought is that, you know, we were going to get to it this year. The new door would be more energy efficient. So the school had mentioned that they would be likely willing to pay for the cost of the door. And so I did follow up with them with an email just to touch base with them and confirm that they were interested and that they still wanted to do so, and they indicated that they were. And I submitted to you the correspondence from Ben Sidway on that.
Yep. Very good. Very good. There's no action on this issue, so we can move on from here. Back to Article 9. I guess the first one here would be to consider the municipal quitclaim deed for the real estate account number 2725.
Yeah. So this is a quitclaim deed. This is an instance where the property is going to be redeemed by the prior owner. So it's not one that we go out to bid. It's redemption. So the owner is actually going to pay off all the taxes and sewer liens on it. You have an account detail right there. They indicated that they're going through that all. What I need to do is basically authorize me to go ahead and sign the municipal quitclaim deed to release that property once they paid it in full, once they paid the taxes and sewer liens in full.
Okay. So can I have a motion?
I will motion.
Need a second? Yeah. Any other discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. The second item on that article would be to consider the appointment for a vacancy for the planning board.
Yes, so you have an email here. Somebody had stopped by the town office. It's Chris Michaud. And if any of you know Chris or don't know Chris, he's a guy who Takes a lot of pictures. He's a photographer. He takes a lot of pictures up and down the valley, and he posts those on social media.
Yep.
He stopped by the town office and he said, I'd like to have been here for a little while, and he wanted to see if he could serve in some sort of capacity. So I said, hey, we do have a vacancy on the planning board. He said, okay, it's for the remainder of a term that expires in June. And so he said, sure. I said, okay, what I'll do is I'll send you an email just to confirm that you're interested. So we have a paper trail on that. And so at this point in time, we'd be looking for this board to appoint Chris Michaud to the planning board for the term that expires in June 2021.
June of 2021. So can I have a motion?
I will motion for Chris Michaud, planning board.
Second? Any other discussion? Approved? Disapproved? Motion carries. A few other items that I have that I want to bring up at this time. We've talked on a number of occasions about trying to meet with the school board. So I'd like to remind our town manager that we'd like to do that as soon as possible. We've also discussed issues of direction with the Chamber of Commerce, and I'd also like to have that on the next meeting so that we can have some direction for the Chamber. And the last item that I had was the bylaws, that we were going to have a chance to restudy our bylaws to make sure that we're following them as close as possible. Those are the items that I want to have discussed again at the next meeting. Beyond that, that's all I have at the moment. Is there anybody else?
Can I, on the bylaws, can you check, like maybe I'm the only one, but every other organization that I've been a part of, like when you get on, you get a copy of the bylaws, and the board should have signed those when we started, right? I think so. I'd like to know if that's true, so we can have that discussion. Or
You want to know if,
well, the bylaws, as far as I'm concerned, should have been signed and dated by all of us when we started.
have you received them, you mean?
We should receive them in June when we start,
Okay.
and everyone should sign off on them. I've never gotten bylaws in an organization and not had to sign
Sign on them.
every year as you pass the torch over to the
Yeah.
next.
That's something you'd like to see done, if that's what you're saying.
Well, I think that's what we're supposed to be doing, but I'm not sure.
I don't
You
know
know?
that we've ever done that we've actually.
No, right, I know, there's a lot of things that, are just, 10 years ago, maybe they did do it. Or maybe it's not required, I don't know, I would just like to know as part of our discussion, I guess, because, you always do the research and give us stuff, so.
Okay. Anybody else? Before I look to adjourn and look for a time and date for our next meeting, I'd like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Please remember, try to mask up, try to keep your distance, and try to keep the groups as small as you can. Have a great holiday. Next meeting, what are we looking at here for dates? Anything coming up, Gary, that's pressing that we need to,
Not really. I do have a couple of little items that have recently come up, but nothing major pressing. One is related to the International Bridge project and some permitting, building permits, fees, but not a lot. We're going to have minutes, warrants, and any other things that come up that might require board attention, but right now I'm not going to be pressing. We're going to have these items here.
okay. So what anybody have any thoughts or suggestions there? I mean, I don't think anybody's traveling, so We don't have to worry too much about Christmas at this point.
The 15th or the 22nd.
Yeah, it's okay, the 15th.
The 15th falls on what?
Tuesday?
Would be good for me. The 15th of December, same time,
Yep.
same place. Okay, I need a motion to adjourn. Second,
I'll look over it.
all in favor? Meeting is adjourned.
Okay, just before I go home, of course, you know that I made a request, but I sang the song of Oh Christmas Tree, and everything went out good.
Paul, I even heard you singing.
You heard me singing?
I heard you singing.
Yeah, well.
You did a great job.
I made a request on that one, so.
Well done.
There.